Marrying a lethally handsome CEO. I basically won the lottery, but he wanted 3 rules. Signed and sealed. 1. Keep it physical. Nobody else. I nodded so hard my neck cracked. Have you seen those shoulders? That waist? Those legs? 0 complaints. 2. No feelings. I nodded like a bobblehead. Faces get boring. I want the whole catalog. 3. Once a week. 4. Health. Once a week. Buddy, are you trying to become a monk? For a life of paid laziness. I swallowed it. Night 1. I wailed. You promised once a week. He froze. Voice gravel of 4 weeks in a month. Last night finished April's quota. Me, I woke up feeling like a python's midnight snack. An iron bar of an arm was crushing my waist. The first thing I saw was Adrian's magnified, unfairly perfect face. Big miscalculation. Thought I'd married a pretty paper tiger. Turned out he was a fully loaded Gatling gun. Where was the celibate ice king? I'd sworn I'd landed a monk. Instead, I got Sun Wukong starving for meat. Every muscle screamed. I gathered my last strength and punched his granite chest. Lego, you mutt. You're flattening me into a noodle. He didn't wake, just snugged me tighter. That did it. Victim mode activated. I flailed, kicked, hissed. Adrian, wake. Wrong move. The struggle poured kerosene on the fire. His eyes snapped open, no drowsiness, only dark. Rolling thunder. His breathing turned ragged. Every alarm in my body shrieked. I tried reason. A husband. Chill. We have a contract. Impulse equals devil. He leaned in, breath scalding my ear. Morning rough, voice lazy. Contract doesn't forbid morning workouts. Afterward I was a deflated balloon. Soul vacuumed out. Trembling, I pointed at the man casually belting his rope. Adrian, that's fraud. I'm reporting you to better for false advertising. His fingers stilled on the sash. His spine locked. A beat of silence. Then he pivoted. CEO glacier mask back in place. As if the last hour had been my hallucination. Coolly he stated, once a week. 4 times a month. I may allocate freely. Math checks. I gaped. He could spin it like that. His shameless logic cracked me up. I laughed until limp, then collapsed back. Odd. Capitalists will loophole anything, even marital KPI. Giggles made me brave. I sat up like a seasoned inspector and poked. Pinched. Assessed. Shoulders. Waist. Legs. 8-pack bonus. Quality passes. 4 stars. My wandering hand slid over his V-line. Adrian snapped rigid. Adam's apple jerking. Eyes dark. Don't. I rolled 8 feet away. Cocooned into a burrito. Quotas empty. Any extras trigger breach of contract damages. He inhaled. Stalked to the bathroom. Tossed back an icy noted. Marrying him was like a blind box. Packaging said common card. Inside was an ultra-rare SSR. Only problem is how fast it burns through my HP. At breakfast he was untouchable CEO again. He slid me a black Amex. Tone weather report flat. Pins your birthday. I pinched the card, stared at his Arctic retreat, and wondered, split personality. CEO by day, beast by night. For days Adrian kept his word. Perfect, celibate roommate. Bedtime, ruler straight on the far edge. Grand Canyon gap between us. As if the wedding night, quota meeting, had been a dream. Post-wedding, Adrian spun like a motor that never powered down. Me, I lounged like a retired cat with an unlimited black Amex. Conversation shrank to a morning. Leaving. Back. I loved it. Wake naturally. Shop with frenemies. Starbucks. Swipe his card. Claim bags I used to drool on. Evenings. Chase the dogs across priceless rugs repurposed as yoga mats. Hijack his home cinema for private karaoke. I WhatsApp him, hubby. Another day of loving you. And your money? Heart emoji he answered. Probably meant a scram, but settled for punctuation. CEO dignity intact. Whatever. I was hydrated by indifference. 2 placid weeks slid by. Then my period checked in. My cramps can KO me. This round was no exception. I curled up, fishing for my phone to beg the house manager for painkillers. The call picked up to a frosty male baritone. Yes, Adrian. I moaned. Meds. Painkillers. Dying. A pause, then distant clang of pots and pans in the kitchen. Half an hour later the door nudged open. Adrian carried a bowl. Posture wooden. Drink. Command delivered. Brown sugar ginger tea, ginger sharp enough to sterilize wounds. I gawked. The untouchable CEO had cooked. Process looked explosive. I sipped. Half conscious. Mattress dipped. He broke the DMZ, scooping my icy body into his furnace chest. A hot palm landed on my cramping uterus. I went rigid. Low order at my ear. Stay. It helps. Heat bled through me. Pain ebbed. I slept, first time ever coddled like that, and woke greedy for more. The second the bleeding stopped. Reset button slapped. Back to separate trenches. Siberian mattress corridor between us. Not happening. You don't serve first class, then herd me to economy. I lay still and performed ruthless self-review. Husband equals rich, hot, built, loyal, low scandal risk. Blue chip stock currently dip, buy more, hold long. If some future tramp snatches him, I'll hate myself forever. New age women fight for assets, romance optional. I, Serena, would attack. I one-clicked a library of how-to guides, drafted a sensory battle plan, sight, sound, smell, touch. Step 1, visual shock and awe. I imported a trunk of lingerie, virginal white velvet to sinful black lace, daily runway strut. The book said, right outfit today, husband begs tomorrow, wearing a silk slip that barely covered the goods. I bent to pick up a pen while he read stocks. His newspaper hand froze. His Adam's apple rolled once. Hard. Then he looked up and icily spit out 5 words. It's cold. Put on pants. Plan failed. The second he left for the gym, I squeezed into skin-tight yoga gear and parked myself on the next mat, contorting through every advanced stretch I knew, flaunting Gumby-level flexibility. I could literally watch the veins pop on the hand he curled around the dumbbell, his Adam's apple bobbing faster than a tech stock on earnings day. Still, he held back. He set the weights down, expressionless. I'm taking a shower. Then he stayed in there almost an hour. I sprawled outside the door, grinning at the running water. Nice self-control. Called well. Let's see how long it lasts. Step 2, audio ambush. I noticed he plays classical vinyl, so, while he was listening to Beethoven's Moonlight, I parked myself across from him, pinched my voice into kitten range, and belted out Huang Ling's Itch. Come on, let's play, we've got all damn day. The more I stress, the hotter the itch. Scratch that itch. Make it twitch. Rule 1 for conquering a man. Poison his playlist. Make it so every time he hears high art, all he hears is, ah. Itch. Adrian's finger froze on the volume dial. He slid the headphones off, staring like I'd grown a second head. I thought he might applaud. Instead, if you want to sing, the home cinema has better acoustics. Me, a gutter mind in a marshmallow body? Basically my spirit animal. But I'm not surrendering. My knockout punch is still loaded. No way I'm letting him off the hook. I fail. I flail. Yet I rise fiercer each time. Tactile phase. Go. Adrian was burning midnight oil in the study. I washed a bowl of scarlet strawberries and sashayed in. Beside his chair, I staged a dainty ankle twist and pitched straight for his lap. Ready for my drama close-up. President Caldwell's reflexes. Flawless sidestep. I landed butt first on ice-cold hardwood. Berries launching like pinballs, one arcing perfectly into his open mouth. He chewed, looking down at me with a flicker of pity. Watch where you walk. Me, I dusted off, clapped my butt cheeks back to morale, and decided it was time for the ultimate cliché, drunken seduction. The Caldwell family Sunday dinner was prime real estate. At the table, I played the reverse mute, glass in hand, toasting every elder, mouth sweeter than frosting. To dad and mom, health, laughter, forever young. Grandpa, may your fortune run as deep as the ocean. Adrian's parents and granddad have never adored their substitute daughter-in-law, but you don't swat a smiling face. They clinked politely. Several rounds later, I turned myself into a bobblehead. Eyes spinning. I wobbled up, draped myself over Adrian, slurring, honey. I think I overdid it. On the ride home, I squirmed across the leather seat, finger drawing circles on his rock-solid chest. Adrian, you're so gorgeous. I felt every muscle lock, his breathing go gravelly. He carried me upstairs bridal style. I clung like an octopus. The second he laid me on the mattress and leaned in to pry me off, bam, my moment. I jerked up and kissed him dead on. He turned to stone. Under my palms his heart jackhammered. Victory. Just as I waited for him to flip me under him, a shrill ring sliced the air. Work call. He shoved me off so fast I bounced. The hunger in his eyes vaporized, replaced by CEO Frost. He strode to the balcony, voice clipped and cold. I lay there staring at the ceiling. A one-woman circus. Newton's laws can't chain my husband, but a conference call can. Capitalists don't have hearts, only KPIs. From that night on, no matter how I teased, Adrian behaved like a bona fide monk. Eyes darker, shoulders tenser, yet never crossing the line. I couldn't decode it. Started doubting life itself. And anonymously posted, help, hubby hot as fire, but won't sleep with me. Does he have a hardware problem? Top reply, sis. Rush him to a urologist. Or check his black Amex and chat history. See whose DMs and dollars he's dripping. I trust his character. But still, just as I flagged, WhatsApp pinged with a photo from his kid brother, the mama's boy Luke. In the shot, a delicate woman is hugging Adrian around the waist while he shields her like a bodyguard. Facing off several dudes outside some club. Neon hazy. Adrian's a cleanliness freak, no outsider gets that close. The protective stance screams history. Under the pic, a smug caption, that's Vivian, my brother's first love. You're not his type? pack your bags. He's hated me since day one. Convinced I tainted his perfect sibling, I zoomed in on her profile. Something cold and soggy lodged in my chest. So that's why. Why the prenup reads, no feelings attached. Why all my stunts left him unmoved. Not iron control. Someone else already owns the lease. White moonlight. Huh. Message received. I stared at the screen for maybe 60 seconds. Then coolly answered Luke, got it. Thanks for the bro. Con PSA, and blocked him faster than spam. Orphanage life taught me, lean on a mountain. It crumbles. Lean on people. They run. Love is garnish. Nice if you have it. Survives if you don't. My happiness is groceries, required daily. Rather than mope, I'll double my bird nest soup and keep my skin glowing. As long as he doesn't file. My meal ticket stays punched. With that, instant zen. I retired every seduction script and reverted to the model roommate. He walks in. I smile, welcome home. Caldwell. He leaves. I nod a drive safe. No more cling. No more thirsty texts. Nighttime split to opposite edges like there's an electric fence. I cooperated. Played the polite spouse he originally ordered. I thought he'd sigh with relief. I didn't know my sudden distance and immaturity would rattle the cage of the beast called possession. Now he comes home to silence instead of non-stop chatter. A flawless Caldwell statue. The Caldwell estate felt cavernous. Eerily quiet. He grew jittery. Started fishing for small talk with lousy bait. Dinner tasted great tonight. Polite smile from me. It always is. Rosa's a pro. How's your workload at Hudson? All good. He frowned harder at my Teflon answers. Logic said this was perfect. Exactly what he'd wanted. Yet his pulse and pupils screamed, wrong, wrong, wrong. I slipped back into top-tier roommate, and Adrian's irritation became visible. He returned from the office earlier, hid less in the study, stared longer. I kept blinders on and lived my best trust fund sloth life. Semester started. Classmates panicked over internships and theses. I rolled out of bed at 10, strolled to campus like a retiree with a black Amex. Daily Bentley drop-off will do that. Within a week my pics hit campus, and threads bloomed. Who's the mystery heiress rolling in a Bentley every day? Explosive. Hudson's pure finance it girl, Serena. Allegedly kept by a sugar daddy old enough to be her father. The post was pornographically detailed, complete with dates, places, and grainy side shots of me climbing out of a Bentley and a Rolls Royce. I laughed out loud when I read it. I screenshotted the whole thing, flipped it to the cops, then DM'd the campus admin. Take it down or get a lawyer's letter. I married into money with my own brain, choke on it. I logged in with my main account and commented, mad, I'm young, pretty, and loaded, swallow it. Instead of keyboard warrioring, haul 2 bricks on a construction site, maybe you'll finally fix that trailer roof. The thread vanished in minutes, but the whisper campaign exploded. I couldn't care less. Their mouths don't dent my black Amex. That afternoon, right after class, 3 girls who've always hated me circled in for the kill. Oh. Serena, no geriatric chauffeur today. Get dumped. Figures, when a guy's bored of your face. That's it. Their claws came out. I rolled my sleeves to teach kindergarten. A scarlet convertible whipped into a tire-squealing stop in front of us. The door popped. A guy in a white shirt stepped out, tall, sun-kissed, heartbreakingly familiar. My first love. Derek, banished abroad 2 years ago by his parents, was back. He must have seen the gossip and jumped on the first plane. He parked himself between me and the hyenas. The cars you mentioned belong to my family. Serena isn't kept. She's my girlfriend. Then he turned, eyes swimming in guilt and love. Serena, I'm sorry. I was a coward. I let mom and dad ship me off. Not anymore. Give me one more chance. The courtyard erupted in squeals and phone flashes. I wanted to evaporate. Bro, are you putting out the fire or pouring gasoline? While I hunted for a polite exit, an icy stare practically drilled a hole through my skull. I glanced up. A black Bentley idled curbside, rear window half down. Adrian sat inside, face dark as cast iron, phone flexing in his grip like he meant to snap it. Headache on a platter, stale candy on my left, walking glacier on my right. I inhaled, peeled Derek's hand off my arm, and looked him straight in the eye. Derek, thank you, but we're done. I paused. Don't torch your future fighting for me. Go live your life. Derek's face drained. Wordlessly, he climbed back into the convertible and disappeared. I exhaled. Problem solved. Sort of. What I didn't know, campus's troll had already been yanked out of bed by Adrian's assistant, cuffed, and gift-wrapped for the cops. Expulsion and a criminal record were speeding his way. On Adrian's phone sat a fresh folder, every photo Derek and I had ever taken at Hudson, every date stamp, every smile. That night the Caldwell estate felt colder than a morgue. Adrian sat on the living room sofa, lights off, nothing visible but a terrifying silhouette. I swallowed and stepped closer. Caldwell, you're home. Silence. seconds. I pivoted toward the stairs. A steel hand manacled my wrist and flung me onto the couch. He pinned me, eyes bloodshot, voice a rasping snarl. Explain. Who is he? His breath scorched my cheek. Thundercloud pressure pressing me into the leather. I stared at the furious face inches from mine and, weirdly, wanted to laugh. Explain what? The proper procedure when a contract wife is proposed to by an ex on campus. Do I file a form? Will you stamp it? Caldwell. Nothing to explain. I said evenly. A nobody. A dumb rumor. Not worth bothering you. I made bothering you sound like a crime. Small. The word lit the fuse. He barked. Unhinged. Serena. Need I remind you whose wife you are? The next second he branded me, neck, collarbone, every reachable inch. Brutal, possessive, zero tender. All night he reclaimed territory like a rabid wolf, erasing the ghost of another man again and again. Reason, manners, the famous self-control, jealousy incinerated them all. I was limp by the time I blacked out, but right before oblivion I caught a hoarse whisper. I missed your past, but every second left of you will carry my name. I woke to sunlight and empty sheets, cedar smoke still hanging in the air, and battlefield souvenirs all over my body. On the nightstand, a glass of warm water and a tube of arnica gel. Me, seriously? Smack first, candy after. Typical man. From that day Adrian went full psycho excellent. If he'd had split personalities before, he now embraced both. He began driving me to campus daily, always the flashiest Rolls Royce. Every morning he waited at the dorm, opened my door with a chauffeur bow, buckled me in while half the student body watched. Envy dripping from the gutters. Rumor died overnight. Nobody dared call me a sugar baby when my sugar daddy was a Forbes cover demigod who looked like Sin and dressed like Vogue. New gossip. Who exactly is Serena's secret husband? He kept swinging the sledgehammer, catering for the entire university, 7 straight afternoons. Haagen-Dazs to Starbucks, all billed to a Caldwell. He wanted low Earth orbit satellites to know I was taken. I sipped a custom cup printed with good luck on midterms. Caldwell, toes curling hard enough to dig a basement. Had he been possessed by a middle school demon? He orbited 24/7, plastering the campus with his scent, childish, tyrannical. I Instagrammed a photo of the library. He replied in 0.3 seconds, home by 6. Caldwell. I kept waking up wrapped around him like cling film. I blamed my own sloppy sleep, until one midnight thirst woke me. The man who should have been on the opposite edge of our king bed was, eyes shut, inching me toward his chest like a burglar. I froze, stunned. Half my morning backache was not from sex, but from being used as a body pillow. His lashes fluttered at my poke. We locked eyes. The air solidified. Caught faking sleep. He flushed, then yanked me in and growled. Still asleep. Now that I'm holding you, I can be me. The guy's cheekbones were forged on fortress walls. Once the mask vanished, Adrian soared free. A flag planted on every square inch of my life. He wasn't just clingy during the day. At night, he was turning straight up shameless. It was our unofficial, spousal duties tonight. He stepped out of the shower, deliberately leaving his robe hanging open. The knot so loose his carved 8-pack and the V-slots of his obliques were on full display. Water drops clung to the ridges of muscle like they couldn't bear to fall, sliding down the grooves until they disappeared under the fluffy white belt. He leaned against the doorframe, towel drying his hair while his eyes, hooked barbs, dragged over me again and again. The message was obvious. I'm ready. Are you? After a few rounds of this, I was the one who cracked first. I felt like some ancient king drunk on beauty, and he was the wicked consort who knew exactly how lethal his charms were. That night, he tried the same trick again. I lost it, lunged, pinned him to the mattress, and snarled. Adrian, keep teasing me and see if I don't. He lifted a brow, laughter in his eyes. You'll what? I'll finish you. He chuckled, the vibration rumbling through his chest, then rolled us so he was on top. Deal. He kissed me, voice muffled against my lips. Waiting for you to take me. Caldwell. Afterward I was so limp I couldn't wiggle a finger. Yet he was still buzzing. He cuddled me, sketching idle circles on my back. Lazy and smug. I kicked at him. You're overshooting your KPIs every single day. Once my brain cooled, the questions started. Before, I'd watched the whole act with zero emotion, calm, indifferent, taking it as it came. Now, indifference was impossible. I realized I was about to fall, hard, and that clashed violently with my original plan to coast through life eating and napping. So I started putting distance between us again. When he came home wanting a hug, I said I had to finish a paper. When he suggested a movie, I claimed I needed beauty sleep, anything to cool my overheated head and salvage some rationality. Adrian noticed the chill immediately. The air pressure in the Caldwell estate dropped day by day. He quit smiling at me, quit talking, and the look in his eyes, hurt, bewildered, was something I couldn't decode. One night, I'd just finished my shower when he blocked the doorway. Backlit, his tall frame swallowed my shadow. He said nothing, just stared, eyes rimmed red. It creeped me out. What are you doing? At last he spoke, voice sandpaper rough and trembling. Serena, what on earth is wrong? I frowned. Caldwell, your heart belongs to someone else. So what are we even doing? Let's keep it polite, for both our sakes. I could play the flawless trophy wife for money and security, but I refused to keep cozying up to a husband whose soul was occupied by another woman. I inhaled, pulled up the photo Derek had sent me, and held the screen to his face. Adrian glanced at it and froze. His expression shifted from blank to shocked to enlightened. He met my eyes, helpless. So this is why you've been hiding from me? I stayed silent. Yes. He rubbed his forehead, and then he laughed. All defeat erased. Serena, what exactly is going on in that head of yours? You're jealous over this? I blinked. Over this. Isn't that enough? He sighed. That night Vivian's boss cornered her at the bar and wouldn't let her leave. I happened to be there. We're alumni, so I helped her out. As for the angle, he tilted the phone so I could see better. Look, my hand's floating. I'm not even touching her. I was just putting space between her and those guys. He tossed the phone away and hugged me tight, baring his heart to me for the first time. He said he'd been born with a possessive streak so intense it bordered on sickness. As a kid he'd owned a gorgeous songbird, loving it too much. He'd locked it in a cage, forbade anyone to look at it, demanded it sing only for him. In the end the bird died of despair. Ever since, he'd been terrified of his own terror that affection would warp into harm, into annihilation. So he'd built rule upon rule to leash the beast inside him that craved control. So, you don't have a first love. You have a mental diagnosis, slipped out of me. He choked on a laugh. Pretty much. He kissed my forehead, voice husky with leftover fear and pure relief. Serena, there's no white moon. Before you, every rule existed to suppress my nature. After you, every time I lose control it's because I love you. After hearing that I felt like an idiot who'd watched 3 random episodes, proclaimed I knew the whole plot, and spoiled it to the world. Turns out I'd brooded for nothing. My grand melodrama was self-written. Fine. Oscar owes me a statuette. Adrian watched my face cycle through emotions and squeezed me closer. So, can you stop running now? Caldwell, he asked, a rare coaxing note in his tone. I cleared my throat. Regal. Depends on your performance. He laughed softly, pecked my lips. Guaranteed 5-star. With the misunderstanding shredded, the last barrier between us vanished. First thing Adrian did was dig the prenup out of his study. In front of me he fed it, page by page, into the shredder, watching the clauses turn to confetti. I joked, Caldwell, destroying such a precious doc. Aren't you afraid I'll grab half your empire one day? He hugged me from behind, chin on my shoulder, low and serious. Everything I have is already yours. Then, from today on there's only one house rule, you call the shots. I was go inside, but my mouth stayed sassy. Really? Even if I make you kneel on durian? I'll kneel. Wash my feet? I'll wash. Bark like a puppy? Woof. Me touche. As for the instigator Derek, Adrian handed down punishment, allowance frozen, demoted to month-long intern at the bottom rung of HQ, tasting real life. Since then he's been my #1 fan. First like, first comment under every Instagram I post. Sis rocks. Prettiest queen alive. My bro. Marrying Sis is karma paying him back with jackpot luck. Whoever upsets Sis is my mortal enemy. The brown nosing is jaw-dropping. Shackles gone. Adrian unleashed full throttle. His Godzilla-level possessive streak, no longer hidden, morphed into 360-degree pampering and shadow-level cling. My schedule now: eat, nap, get eaten, repeat. One night I was curled against him watching a movie when curiosity bit. I poked his chest. Caldwell, remember your epic prenup. Clause 3, once a week? He stiffened, then rolled over, caging me with predator eyes. I remember. He kissed me, voice bedroom rough. We owe ourselves 7 days a week, haven't hit quota once. I'll have to try harder. Me, you're out of your mind. Not worried about his kidneys at all. I cooed, hubby, my dream is waking up naturally every single day. Will you make it happen? Adrian chuckled, warm and devoted, brushed a scorching kiss to my ear. From now on, I'm your natural alarm clock.